everyone, how are you doing? My name is Ryan Kelly and I'm going to be hosting another episode of Know Your Bosses. Know Your Bosses, if you're not aware, is a show where I'll review some of the most classic bosses to the lesser known ones. I'll rank them based on their difficulty, creativity, appearance, and fighting style. In the end, the boss will get a ranking from 1, avoid the fight, to 10, pursue the fight. So now that I've quickly gone over the rules, we can talk about the boss we'll be fighting today. Today I'm going to be discussing location. Celosia is located on the northern side of the map. In fact, he's the furthest Colossus north from the sanctuary. In order to find him, you must head towards the massive bridge north of the sanctuary. After following the bridge north for long enough, you will find a canyon that has a narrow path that only Wanderer can go down. Yes, that means you won't need to use aggro at all. Thank God. After reaching the bottom of the path, you'll need to head west through the shallow lake. Once you've made it across the lake, you'll find the temple where Celosia is. Once you get to the temple, you'll need to find the right side of it by following this passage here. After that, you'll need to take a left. In doing this, you'll find a few ledges that you have to climb. Reaching the top of the ledges will give you access to entering the arena where Celosia is. In order to start the fight, you'll have to jump across the gap that is in between you and Celosia. Once you do that, the fight will begin. Just in case my explanation of how to find Celosia is too confusing, here's a map with the route that you have to take. Boss information. Celosia is the 11th Colossus that Wanderer has to face. Its description from Dorman, the voice in the Shrine of Worship, says the following. Thy next foe is an altar overlooks the lake, a guardian set loose. It keeps the flames alive. This quote is interesting because it's similar to another Colossus's quote, being Cinnaba. Both of their quotes have the phrase, a guardian set loose, and are guardians of a specific area. But that isn't all these two Colossi have in common. They also have very similar builds, are aggressive, both only have one weak spot that's on their backs, and they even share the same themes, being liberated guardian at the start of the fight, and a despair-filled farewell whenever you're holding on to them. Yeah, these two Colossi are nearly identical. Well, except for the fact that Celosia is 12 feet tall and 18 feet long, while Cinnaba is 11 feet tall and 18 feet long, which is apparently roughly the same size as an adult African elephant. Oh, so that's why I hate both of them so much. According to the official Shadow the Colossus art and guidebook, Celosia is a lion that was nicknamed Leo during his development. This can be seen in his design and whenever he makes these noises, which are pretty similar to the noises that a lion makes. Speaking of his development, here's some concept art for Celosia. Celosia is actually one of the only 3 Colossi that is shown being able to jump, the other 2 being Cinnaba and Dirge. Something else that's pretty interesting about Celosia is that he's the only Colossus that shows any sign of fear. His fear of the torch is actually pretty ironic when you think about it. The moment of fear is whenever you pick up the torch and light it for the first time, then you jump down and put it in front of him. He backs away from you very slowly. His fear of the torch is actually pretty ironic when you think about it, because he's supposed to be the guardian of fire, but he's afraid of the very fire that he guards. Strategy. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, the fight with Celosia is horrible and can be pretty broken, but I'll give you what I think the best strategy is on how to handle this broken fight. Before I get into how to beat Celosia, there are a few things that you should have in mind. 1. Celosia is one of the most aggressive colossi in the game, so he will charge you constantly throughout the fight. If he manages to hit you while you're on the ground, then you'll most likely die, because whenever you get hit by a colossus, you're stuck to the ground for around 5 to 10 seconds. Celosia waits for about 5 to 10 seconds to charge you again. So right as you're getting up, Celosia will hit you again, and you'll be knocked back onto the ground, and then you'll try to get back up again, and Celosia will charge up, and he'll hit you again right as you're getting up, and then you'll get stuck into a wall, and anyway, at this point, you're probably gonna die. However, you can get lucky and manage to escape from getting hit by him again by hoping his RNG is on your side and he takes longer to charge you than he normally would. And finally, to pick up the torch, which I will go into more detail about later, use R2 or whatever button you have pinned to grabbing. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about how to properly fight Celosia without encountering too many bugs. The first thing that you're going to want to do right at the start of the fight is to climb one of the 6 pillars that are in the room. Once you've done that, Celosia will charge that pillar, which will cause a torch to fall. Then you'll need to pick up that torch, climb back onto the pillar, light the torch in the fire, and then push Celosia towards the edge of this cliff here. Once you've done that, he'll fall to the ground and he'll break his armor, which will expose his weak spot. Something that will be extremely helpful for this fight is that once Celosia falls to the ground, he'll stay there until you get close enough to him. So instead of rushing down there and missing your opportunity to get on him, you can take your time and get on him guaranteed like this. After that, all you have to do is stab him until he dies. However, it's possible to fall off of him. If you do fall off of him, then you'll need to get back onto him whenever he finishes a charge, or you can try to get to higher ground and jump back on him. But try your best not to fall off, because this area is really where you can get caught in an endless loop of getting charged by him. If you do manage to get caught in this loop, then you can pretty much say goodbye to living, because you really have nowhere you can possibly hide, unless the RNG really is on your side. But again, that is very rare for the RNG to actually favor you in this fight. If you do everything that I said to do, then you will have successfully killed Celosia. Final thoughts. In this section of the video, I'll be talking about how the gameplay, design, difficulty, fun factor, and creativity weigh in on my opinion of whether I think a boss is good or not. Anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's start this section. It should be no surprise that I really don't like this Colossus, but regardless, I'm still gonna try to find some positives about Celosia. For starters, the fight is actually one of the most creative ones in the game. It's the only fight where you use something other than your sword or bow and arrows to progress through the fight. And the area where you fight him is pretty cool, even if it is extremely easy to get glitched into objects or to get stuck on the ground Silver the Hedgehog style. And finally, Celosia's design isn't too bad. It would have been better if he was just a little bit bigger, but that's just a nitpick. Alright, now that I've said some positives about Celosia, let's address everything that's wrong with this fight. For starters, the gameplay in this fight is some of the worst in Shadow of the Colossus. It's extremely easy to get repeatedly stuck in combos. I mean, a majority of my footage from this fight is me trying to escape from his barrage of attacks. And the worst thing about his fight is how unintuitive it is. How the hell are we supposed to know how to kill Celosia? This is the first and only time in the game where you have to use an item that isn't your sword or bow and arrow. The game doesn't explain that you're supposed to look for this torch or that Celosia is afraid of fire. And how was I supposed to figure out that you need to get Celosia to hit a pillar in the room that doesn't look like you can even climb it in order to get a torch? When I was a kid, I was stuck on this Colossus for almost 30 minutes just because I had no idea what the hell I was supposed to do. I actually broke my PlayStation 3 remote whenever I was fighting him for the first time because I died right at the end of the fight because I fell off of him and got caught in an endless combo of charge hits. You have no idea how mad I still am about this. It's just so ridiculous how easy it is to die to this thing when it's not even your fault that you died to it. Yes, I get that getting hit by the Colossus for the first time can be your fault, but getting hit a second, third, fourth, and even a fifth time is not your fault when the Colossus charges you right as you're getting up. You would have thought that they would have fixed this for the PlayStation 4 version, but no, it's still exactly the same as the PlayStation 3 version. It's so sad to see how unintuitive this fight is, because for the most part, Shadow of the Colossus is a very intuitive game. It's also a shame that the gameplay for this fight is so bad, because this fight's concept is one of the best ones. So with all that in mind, my final score for Celosia is a 1 out of 10. Avoid the fight. Now, it would have gotten a higher score because of everything else it has going for it, but just because the gameplay for this fight is so bad and is so buggy, I have to give it a 1 out of 10, because really, you should try to avoid this fight if you can. I mean, if you want to play all the way through Shadow of the Colossus, you really can't, but, you know, get a friend to beat it for you, I don't know, just don't fight it. Just try to avoid it if you can. So, what do you think about this boss? Do you think this boss deserves a higher or lower ranking? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video or not. Also, make sure to click the like button if you liked the video and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're curious about learning more about behind the scenes of RLV and just getting to see videos early, then you should consider checking out my Patreon. At a minimum, it's only $1 a month to get access to all my videos early as well as behind the scenes footage. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next episode of Know Your Bosses.